The last time we saw this man on this map playing Mongols, it did not end well, and it was a meme fiesta. Hopefully, this time he gets to play a bit more of the game. One and all, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to the Age of Empires for Action. It's the return of Myriad in the red on the Mongols. This time, though, he's not up against Canadian. He's up against a Chinese man playing as the French with a French name. It is Louis MT of Team Elephant in the green. Frisian Marshes is going to be your map of choice. A great map for both of these civs because both of them can lean hard into trade. And a great matchup, actually. One that should be tight, should be close, because my feeling on this matchup is it is close to a 50-50, especially in an environment like Frisian. Frisian might lean 5-10% towards Mongols just because their trade is the best, and also they can rush towards your base with infantry quite sufficiently. But overall, I wouldn't say this is a matchup where you have French in a bind, or vice versa. Apologies, though, we weren't able to catch game one. Louis MT did actually beat 8 Chinese. I am gutted we did not get to see that. But unfortunately, the limitations of match history kind of screwed us over a bit there. Opening rotations, looking about even here, which is really good for Louis. You know, there's kind of different tiers of scouting, right? China best, just below them, Mongols, and I think then just below that, you could probably imagine French/Zone on a map like this because they do know where these trade posts are, which means they can move efficiently off of the go, whereas, you know, Mongols, even China, are more likely to run in the wrong direction. And the wrong direction is really important not to do because we've seen a few games already in the midweek musters where someone has basically lost because they failed to do the initial rotation near the back of their TC, and their opponent ended up getting like 8 extra sheep. And there it is. Okay, so that's very interesting. H3 versus China Scarguard. You went full aggro and he went pro scouts. I had a feeling that might have been kind of the case. It's like basically headbutting the wall. We've had a few people trying to break China, trying to go the hard way, probably for a Barbican quite often, and it didn't work well. But no Barbicans today. There is a cancel on the mining camp. Louis did not go for the Chamber of Commerce. Well, color me a little bit surprised. And yeah, also, just to clarify, when you're in the HRE China matchup, correct me if I'm wrong, but surely the players, you just go fast castle. Because I feel like the players quite often you go fast castle, unless China shows signs of aggression. Right? Because otherwise, like, I've been very vocal about this. Barbican is a pain in the ass to break. I've seen way too many people lose because they've tried to go for a Barbican. It's not easy. Curious. You go fast castle either way. If trying to go, yeah, agreed. But anyway, enough of Scald and Myriad. We're going to see if he can actually strike back here. Because Louis, he is going to be feeling the pressure. I'm a little bit confused by his choice to go Sock with double forward gold. You know if you can go Cock in this matchup? I think you can. I don't mind it, actually. I think it's fine. Like, you're inherently going to probably have to build archers anyway because of the spear opening, so you're not really delaying much in terms of your initial timings. And also, your knights can still be pumped out. Like, I always talk about the value of the initial knight versus the double knight, right? Chamber of Commerce is about getting more knights out on a delay, whereas the School of Cavalry is about getting a knight out sooner. But instead of going for trade, Louis is going to play a TC game. That's not bad considering the spawn. Look at this. Double fish, berries, and the deer. Louis hit the jackpot here. Yeah, Myriad is going to have to keep a lot of pressure up on this map. Otherwise, Louis is going to have a very content and comfortable beginning to this game. 16 sheep to 23, though, is a good way for Myriad to start. We're going to have the Silver Tree coming through, pretty much the expected. And actually, Myriad got a pretty cool spawn for this. The Silver Tree is able to be built here next to the TC at the Uvu. Usually you want to build it in the corner straight away, but the double pumper trader is going to be worth it, and he will have enough resources for that. Now, the question is, there's no world in which we do free TC, right? That meta is dead, right? Don't have enough gold for spear upgrade? I think you're fine. You've got the outpost. Like, why do you care? It doesn't matter. Like, the reality is you'll be able to touch some gold if necessary, which he's got going out here anyway. Like, when you've got an outpost like this, what's one knight going to do, right? He's not going to break your outpost. So I don't think you need to panic rush into Hardened. It's better to actually get the extra economy in and the Keshiks alongside it. Oh, you mean for Louis? Okay, got you. That makes more sense. Yeah. Why would you really be building spears here, though? Golly, come on. You just go for the archers. Just a giant archer ball. I mean, in fairness, I don't mind just archers only until he accesses some gold later. It is a bit tricky, though. Like, he's going to have to address this eventually. I think the bigger issue for me isn't necessarily the lack of gold for spear upgrade. It's the lack of gold for siege engineering, right? He's going to have to drop a marketplace and trade across. Myriad, meanwhile, has got the Keshiks coming, and I believe that is indeed a double pump. Yeah, so Myriad, he made a judgment call there. He could have went for the double trader. He chose the double Keshik instead. Difficulty here is going to be the fact that the town center will go up, and 2 Keshiks is not going to stop that. One thing that could also be really frustrating that Louis could do here is he actually could just short wall between the 2 ponds so that he has kind of an in and out with villagers, excess villagers and archers, right? And then you just gather from these fish first. When a Keshik comes nearby on this side, run through. Time being, though, it's going to take the east side, and it looks like we have got to shuffle out towards the very wide gold here. So Louis, he says, hell no, am I having to trade and build a ram here? That would put me too far behind, because I want free TC. No, I'm kidding, it's not free TC. Could you imagine if he tried free TC under this pressure? Good lord. That would be a death sentence. So he's going to have the arrow slits up here with the gold. Rack's already being prepped. Myriad already starting to pump his traders. Overall, a solid beginning to this game, actually. Myriad has really good map control to open this. The food is the problem, right? Like, Louis has so much food, you can't really target it. You need to find the gold. And I think Myriad, he... No! He doesn't know. He never scoured it. Oh my god, the one spot. Really, the one spot on the map. I mean, this is a tree line. I don't think he sees it. That is catastrophic. I mean, you've got to be doing the maths in your head, though, right? I mean, Myriad is a very intelligent lad. He can count to 3, 4, right? Like, he sees the gold veins here, here, and here. He knows his side has 4, so he should be looking for that final one. Keshik's going to dive in. You can see the rocks if you look there. I mean, sure, but if you look there, right? Gully, how often do you... Okay, Gully. Buddy, Gully is one of the players in this, by the way. You can actually see the state of things for him upcoming. He's got to face off against Wham. And I'll use that as an example. If you're up against Wham, do you have time to, like, go and... Ooh. No, you're in the grand scheme of things, you're looking at the minimap to kind of guide you. And you're probably like, this doesn't make sense. Where's the other gold? But it seems like that hasn't triggered for Myriad yet, because realistically... If you were worried about gold, you would be going over here to this final spot. He's shuffling more villagers out. Oh my god. The timing on this. Like the spears and their direction may have just given it away to Myriad, but now there's spears to protect. So more villagers shuffling out. We've got a second outpost up. Myriad has to know, right? Yeah, he reveals it, but now it's too little too late. It's double outposts, only one with arrow slits, but good luck with that. And now Myriad going into Magadai. Yeah, tricky, because if he'd been there much sooner, I mean, the outpost might have been going up either way, right? But you at least keep pressure, you force idle time, and that allows you to scale your lead behind this. But now Louis, very content. 11 villagers out on the gold. This means we are finally going to see a Royal Knight with a School of Cavalry build just before the 10-minute mark. So technically it is pre-10. Barely, though. Just 20 seconds away from having to wait past 10 minutes to build a knight. Doesn't really sound like the French I'm used to. Nice little dive in here, though. Louis was greedy. He brought one extra villager, then he had safety to this gold vein. Every little bit of chip damage counts as well. You know, you got to remember, French, they do scale their knights, their villagers rather, very quickly. On the flip side, you've got a faction that scales their trade incredibly quickly. So yeah, expect a tight one here. And Magadai here is peculiar. I mean, I think it's just about raiding the eco. You don't really want to be Magadaing into knights. It's sadness. Unless you have a forward outpost, which he does, right? But it's only on one side. You need a second like around here to get that raid proficiently. So I think maybe this is this his way of dealing with the archers? It's a weird way of dealing with archers, right? Because like Archibald should be able to beat Magadine in equal value numbers. Spears. Having to defend here, a little bit awkward. Doesn't get that final stab out. So overall, I'd actually say that was a decent exchange for Louis, right? He killed a Magadai, he killed 2 Keshiks, he lost what, 3 spearmen? That's a jackpot. You can see Myriad just relentless to try and pressure this point. My worry is as time goes on here, what's to really stop Louis from just taking control of the home golds? That's the problem. I think Myriad is probably sensing it. He's going to start to back up here because, like, the reality is every time you headbutt and fail on this double outpost, it makes it easier for Louis to reclaim the safer golds, right? It just requires so much scale to just get rid of this double play. Knights, in the meantime, have been intercepting, so that's slowing Myriad's eco down a little bit, but he's reaching those scale points. Next one now coming up, after it was just taken away from him, he is into the tier 3. So a lot of income now for the Mongols. And yes, he did add in a second marker. So we have got full spam on the trade. Louis has got quite a few knights now. I think Myriad just needs to try and overwhelm these knights, because the problem you have here, right, is like Myriad is trying to stop the goal to stop Louis getting on the map. It's too late. You failed, right? That objective is passed. Your goal now needs to be to protect your trade. And the way you protect your trade as Mongols is you wall... Oh, okay, wait, you can't wall. So the alternative way you protect your trade is you wait for Louis to make these small maneuverings with 2 or 3 knights, and then you show up with 6 Keshiks. Just overwhelm him at every turn here to build a military lead. Because Louis is, like, obviously catching up very quickly in the knight spam, but he's going very one-dimensional into it. And that might lean him into feeling pressured to do something aggressive with them. That's where spears, that's where Keshiks could catch him in enemy territory easily. Cash coming in here, Louis. A little bit ambitious, trying to stand his ground there. Makes it work for him, though. Gets Keshik kill, and more knights are now arriving, so a bad fight for Myriad to hang for. Yeah, the problem that Myriad's having, and this is also why I often talk about Deerstone being better, and this map might be the rare exception, is in this situation, you can't even have like a forward outpost that would give you the yams, so these spears are quick to engage. It wouldn't give you the Deerstone or outpost at home to make sure these spears are quick to arrive from the reproduction line. That's the problem now for Myriad, because what it's turning into more and more is just a big knight blob, and that means that Myriad won't be able to keep pace, because he's trying to go hard in the spears. So what Myriad now has to do is he essentially has to kind of line condense himself onto his side of the map and wait for Louis' attacks and try to repel him. We have, however, got a peel off. The Keshiks are going for a raid again. I just don't think this works. Like, you know, a little bit of idle time, cool, but the reality check here is you are weakening your army for the big fight that's coming. And that is going to be the riskier of the gold. So, problem town central here, right? And a good timing as well. He's already halfway through this vein. And we talked about this timing. It was obvious it was coming. Myriad wasn't playing for an all-in. He was playing a raid-oriented lineup. Makes sense, right? When you're scaling trade like this so quickly as Mongols, you don't feel like you need to rush to end the game. Louis is trying to pressure him to that point. With 12 knights in the field and only 8 spears, Myriad might struggle to protect a very thick trade line, 26 of them that can now be exposed. Louis is going to march forward to try and exploit that. Myriad, I think, just needs to go very aggressively into spears here. It doesn't feel good because you know there's going to be a lot of archers coming, but you need to get the spears online first, then into the Keshiks. He's very delicately trying to balance the two on kind of an equal proportion, but the Keshiks are always going to struggle to face off against these knights, right? Like, it's cool if you can get the standing fight where the knights show up against spears Keshiks. That just really shouldn't be happening. Louis should just be playing the map wide, forcing you to always be at disadvantage. That being said, Louis, he did just blob. I'm a little bit surprised. It feels a bit nonchalant to make it very French here. A little bit lazy. All the knights together instead of 2 different groups at each end of the trade, he could have done a lot more damage. Instead, he gets pinched from behind. Big hit there for Myriad. Not able to take down many knights, but a lot of them now injured. And behind this, the Kurultai is on the way. The delicacy of his build is protected. I can't believe that. I mean, Louis, if you're going to commit, right? He tries. Myriad almost just dangling the economy there at the perfect time, gets that surround. And this is where Louis kind of just wishes he'd been hitting both ends of the trade, right? Because he would have killed probably 10 plus workers. If he'd hit here as well as here, he would have not only shut down traders, he would have scouted and stopped this tech up. But way too focused on the food, right? He thought that was his jackpot to be had. Maybe he was worried that Myriad already had too much gold because he has so many traders, so cutting his food is more value. But now, an awkward situation as Louis continues to invest in the age, he's about to get made aware of the age up. And this is where Louis has to pump the brakes and follow suit. His timing to rush in is not there. Even if he wanted to pressure here, right? It's 13 knights now with a spearman nearby and 10 Keshiks. That's long enough of a delay to let the spears get in range. So Louis, he's going to try, though. And this is incredibly ambitious. With this tree line, he could get caught. If Myriad didn't just chase him. Wait, what? Louis was expecting him to cut him off. What? Movement speed arrow in. Shoves him deeper. He's going to send a few around the backside, but there's not many spears there. I cannot believe that. The mind games. Louis is like, oh yeah, of course, you're going to split into two and cut me off. Nope. Myriad just A-clicks. Big monkey noises coming in from the back of the classroom. And then almost gets the full surround with the maneuver speed arrow. That's crazy. More reinforcements coming, which is actually getting braces on some of these knights. So Louis starting to take a heavy hit here. Archers have arrived. He's got his full army here. However, the veterancies are now in. And not just that, we've also got step lancers. Myriad fully ready to fight, and Louis completely hesitant for good reason. Kurotai just arrived as well. That's going to make it almost impossible to stand your ground here. Louis just needs to back away. Tries to hang around. Spearman pretty much all dead. The Keshiks are now going to get access. And Louis MT, what are we doing here? Once again, he's just sending the entire army, never splitting anything off to go for a few trader hits while teching behind this. He's trying to save up for attack, but the way he's doing it is far too expensive here. Keshiks keep chasing. Louis is about to lose full control of this game. The Kurotai is packed up and on the move. Even the archers hurt at this point, folks. They're already at 8 damage versus your 4 armor. Buff them up even further. All of a sudden, you just melt to veteran archers. But it's even worse than that, folks. Myriad has got the crossbows now on the way. And this Louis also starting to run out of safe food. You know, we talk about all that sheep on this map. Actually, doesn't last that long when you scale 2TC like this. So Deer Berry's here, Deer here as well. He can't afford to back up. It looks like Myriad's going to force him. Keshiks distract all of the knights. That means the archers' crossbows can have a field day here. He's going to have to peel back a little bit. Kurotai ready to unpack. He finds the perfect spot for it. The pressure mounting now. Gets the buff coming in just towards the end of this fight. Knight count is still looking good for Louis. He's going to give chase, so Myriad may be overextending here. Needs to shuffle away quickly. Has got more frontline troops, spears, Keshiks coming. He needs to keep those crossbows alive. The Kurotai just needs to unpack. I don't think it's worth moving too far back here. In fact, right now, his own Khan in the way. Now the enemy archers blocking him off. The knight count is getting low here, folks. Like, this is the big thing to keep your eyes on. Like, these are really good fights from Louis, but the reality check here is he just evaporated his army, right? Like, you've went from, what was it, 20 knights down to 8 while constantly pumping about 3 at a time. Royal Institute is now on the way, but you don't have that knight amassment you'd usually see to get Royal Bloodlines with 30+ knights. And Myriad understands at this point, he has to be relentless. He can't give him an opportunity to rescale. He does also need to use this bloody Kurotai. Come on. This thing. Yeah, kind of wild when you think about it mathematically, right? You think the Keshiks would be favored, but even when they're vetted up, they're still slightly worse than French knights in feudal. That's crazy. I mean, the step lancer detail makes them a bit better on the attack speed, right? Sure, but the reality is you have to deal with the charge, giving them buff damage. That's why Royal Knights are so scary. That's why most civs just don't bother to contest heavy cav on heavy cav with French anymore. It's just so hard. It's an uphill battle. However, instead, he's peeled off a few Keshiks. Great opportunities here. I mean, Louis, he looked like he survived the storm. We have Arbitrary on the way. Gold access is still looking good. I am worried about the food, though. He hasn't committed to a farm transition at all. Right? He is at the mercy of the spawn, and he's running out of food fast here. Meanwhile, in the land of Mongols, we do have the pastures. We also have map control, which means that Myriad can play onto fish, onto deer. He doesn't feel as confined. Meanwhile, you can see for Louis, he needs this gold. He needs the free pockets of a pond here, maybe even the boar. Alright, one's if you think Myriad's going to win this, two's if you think Louis is 2-0ing him. Because there is signs of Louis snaking his way back into this after what felt like a drop ball. We aren't at the big boy techs yet, right? No raw bloodlines, no crossbow stirrups. I mean, this is the importance. That one Keshik raiding so often there really screwed the pooch for Louis. Because if he was just gathering constantly, he'd already have raw bloodlines basically completing in about 10 seconds. He'd have crossbow stirrups following up behind. So that actually really did hurt his timing. Louis. Royal Bloodline's coming in a minute. He just needs to delay. The problem is you've revealed you've been gathering gold up here. Not just that, another Keshik on the gold line. At least a quicker reaction this time. Myriad, he is posturing. Kurotai on the way. Does he go for the gold or does he go for the glory? It looks like he wants to cut down the center here. Smart choice, right? Your army is just so much more powerful right now. If you wait raiding for another minute and a half, that does mean the French are going to get their hands on raw bloodlines, on crossbow stirrups, gambesons, all the techs they need to hold you back. Right now, you're the one with a damage buff. You're the one with an efficient DPS exchange. And he wants to press it. Kurotai, not able to unpack just yet. But even without it, this army is big enough. It can win this fight. Moving forward, coming in. Arbitrage slow to maneuver away from this. Remember, before, Louis had the advantage of maneuverability to reposition on the retreat. This time, not so much. Arbitrary about to be exposed. Kurotai, buff is in. Louis feeling the pressure to make his last stand at the TC. But the army is quickly losing this fight. No crossbow stirrups, no gambesons. He only just queued it up. Woolol can come out all you want, but that's not going to change the outcome here. Myriad has reached his target. TC now being honed in on. A little bit of hesitation setting in here as he's going to reset, and we do now have Horsemen coming from Myriad. Horseman crossbow, pretty much what you need to get through this. I mean, Louis, if he has similar numbers, though, will be favored just because of how good Arbitrary are. But the numbers are not close at all currently. Eco damage starting to be done. We have raids coming in on the gold again. These outpost defenses that are meant to be keeping Louis safe are not doing enough now in Castle Age. As you quite rightly would expect here, right? Arrow slits and just a few archer shots shouldn't protect against vet units. And it won't here. Dive in. Just as we're going to see the farms coming out from Louis. He gets caught in the transition. And look at that food. This is over. This is done. Myriad has the power, the potency to sit on this farmland. I say as he walks away. What? No, our boy Myriad wouldn't chill and vibe too long. He just wants Imperial Age. I actually think, yeah, you could probably get away with like a Ford Carnot here. You've got villagers in the center. Just build a Carnot here and go. He's got relics coming as well. I think he's playing a little bit slow. Right? I think when you're on these farms, you should have committed to the farms and had the second wave clear up the gold and the fish. But other than that, like Myriad's execution here has been exactly what he needed. Looked a bit dicey when he took that really big fight in the center, but overall the follow-through just strong, right? He understood the trade-off was protecting the trade. It gave him the scale, it gave him the potency, and it gave him the kick right up Louis' ass to take this to a game 3. Wow, really cool game, really cool execution. Let me know what you guys thought of this one. I think this was an intriguing approach to gold starvation. It almost looked like Louis missed his timing, but you can't fault the man on the way that he recovered it. Right, the pinch on the north side, the pressure that came counter to the attempted raid to Louis is what gave Myriad that win and gave him a third game, right? After losing with HRE, he still has a chance to make it deep in the tournament. And let's be real, folks. Louis MT is not an easy person to beat. What do you guys think about Frisian, though? I've heard a few players moaning about it at the moment. They don't like it anymore. Do you guys think Frisian should be in the map pool? Do you actually think that Frisian should be in the default map pool for the game? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next chapter.